Hey everybody, what is up? I'm pretty excited here today to do this album because I have been personally looking forward to this one a good bit. Today we are going to be tackling the new Ghost album, Infestissumam. Um, so Ghost, if you haven't heard of them or who they are a band out of Sweden. They're led by Papa Emeritus II and his nameless ghouls. The members are anonymous. The singer looks like a skull-painted anti-pope, and the rest of the band is dressed as hooded monks with their faces obscured. They sound bit hard to describe, but maybe a mix between Merciful Fate with a lot of the satanic imagery and themes, Blue Oyster Cult, and the Beatles. There's a lot of poppy melodies in here, a lot of big choruses and hooks. Just a really unique sounding throwback type band. Some people argue they're not so much heavy metal and they're more hard rock, but I'm not going to get too hung up over labels and genres here because that frankly it's not very important to me really. When you sit down and listen to something, all that really matters to me, did you like it, is it good? So moving on, the band really started generating good buzz on their own when they released their debut album, Opus Eponymous, and they really started to take off when they got some support from Phil Anselmo of Pantera and Down and James Hetfield of Metallica. They started wearing Ghost t-shirts and talking about the band and how much they liked them. So after that, they just really started to take off and generate a lot of buzz. That album I was a pretty big fan of. It was nice, short, had a great good sound. It was low production values, but it just really worked. Everything kind of snapped together. They had this vibe with the eerie organs, and it was just a great product. I dug the image. I thought it was entertaining. They bring a good theatrical element to their stage shows, which some people find that cheesy, but whatever. So yeah, moving on here. This album, Infestissumam, sort of picks up where the last album left off, which was sort of like the birth of the Antichrist, I suppose. So a lot of this album deals with a lot of those type themes. So if you are offended by satanic themes, it's probably not a good choice for you here, because almost every track in here, just like with the last album, either mentions Satan or the Antichrist, or is about him, or it's something ghoulish and absurd, but it never manages to me to reach some of the more extreme, like Norwegian black metal or super satanic death metal. There's almost a playfulness to it all, which comes into some of their poppy sound. So to me, it's just an entertaining package all throughout. So this CD is sort of Ghost 2.0, if you will. They have a lot more money now because obviously they've caught on much more, so which works for and against them on this one. If you're a real fan of that bare bones, low production quality on Opus Eponymous, you may be thrown off a bit by how more polished this is. The vocals are layered here and there. There's a nice gothic chorus on some of the tracks, like Infestissumam and such. So there's that going on. Some of the songs are longer and they try to do a bit more, which works again for and against them, because part of their strength on Opus Eponymous was these nice, concise, poppy songs, and they maintain that mostly on here, but they do try to extend the epic feel a bit on some of them. That really, Monstrance Clock is the biggest offender on here to me, of being a bit overly long, losing some of that ghost vibe that I really liked on Opus Eponymous. So that's probably the biggest offender for me as far as being too long of a song. The other track, Goulet, Zombie Queen, is actually pretty interesting because it starts off as sort of a piano type ballad, synth-laden ballad, which actually I think works fairly well. And just as you get used to that, it launches into the Zombie Queen half, which is almost a surf type rock sounding riff. And I don't know, I thought the whole song just gels really well. It's pretty cool, and manages to be unexpected where it goes. And then another standout for me on the album is Gigolo Har Megiddo, which just has this great swagger to the riff. It's just a fun, really cool rock song to listen to. And then Year Zero to me I saw a few other reviews which mentioned Year Zero being the most successful mesh between this album, Infestissumam, and the last one, Opus Eponymous. It just seems to be all those things that they've been trying to do coming together in the perfect balance, and I would agree that Year Zero is probably the highlight of the album, the best track on it. So watch that video definitely if you were thinking about getting this album, and if that does it for you, then yeah, that'd be great, and this would definitely be a good choice for you. Other great tracks on Your Body and Blood is a semi-ballad. It's good. Another bit more bare bones Ghost. Parasparad, Inferni. The whole album is really good. I've been listening to it a few times now. That's why it took a couple days to get here. I like to try to let an album sink in, because if I'd have done this one on a gut review, I may have taken it down a few points, because you do have to get past some of, and it is a bit different than Opus Eponymous, and after listening to it a few times, I really appreciate the layers and what they've set out to do here. It's really good. There's a standard and deluxe version of this album. The standard one ends at Monster's Clock at track 10, and the deluxe adds 2 more tracks, La Mantra Mori, and a cover of the ABBA song I'm a Marionette with Dave Grohl on drums. I would definitely spring for the deluxe version. La Mantra Mori is kind of a throwaway track in my opinion. It's alright, but Dave Grohl really pounds on the drums on I'm a Marionette, and it's pretty nice. It's a cool, unique interpretation of an ABBA song, which you wouldn't expect a metal band to crack into. So overall, I'm going to give this album an 8 out of 10. It's a great album from Ghost. I look forward to the more money they make. They've been putting that in their stage production, which I like a good band that does a theatrical gimmick well. Like Guar is a favorite of mine. I was never big into Slipknot with the masks, but so I like to see even Rob Zombie even has some great stage production, and I do like to see that in some bands, going back to some of those theatrical elements and just giving you this whole package. That's another quick thing I should throw in there. The deluxe version of the album is a booklet with art for each song, which really complements the tracks well. Cool black and white pencil art. The CD just has the upside down Ghost logo. I know in the European territories there was some controversial artwork depicting an orgy, so I heard they had some issues getting that in the territories outside of Europe, so you don't get that here in North America, but it's just whatever. But so yeah, I'd recommend again the deluxe version of the album if you're gonna spring for it. Just great work from Ghost. It's one of those bands again. They start getting some buzz rolling, they get some haters and detractors, and that's fine if they're not your thing. But as far as my opinion goes, I've never cared much how big a band's fan base is, or if the band has a lot of fake fans. To me, again, all that really matters when you put that CD in and you listen to it, is it good, are you having fun with it? That's all that matters to me. So I'm not too much of a genre snob, or I like bands like Metallica that pack stadiums, and I like bands like Baroness and other bands that pack tiny theaters, and I enjoy all the levels in between. So yeah, definitely check this one out. Go to their page, check out their videos, and give it a listen. As always, if you got something to say, fire off down below, and we could talk about Infestissumam. Thanks a lot for checking in. Hopefully get some more reviews on here. I have the new Killswitch Engage on deck, which might be coming up next, maybe even later today. We'll see what happens. So, alright, thanks a lot.